How you doing? Duff here, and today I am going to be doing a maintenance task on my 2005 SSR. I'm going to be flushing the clutch fluid. The clutch fluid actually is just brake fluid. I bought some .4 brake fluid. I'm not sure where I have it sitting right now. Some .4 brake fluid to do the job. Here it is. Synthetic brake fluid. The way you can tell that your brake fluid kind of needs to be flushed or changed is when you look at it as it gets darker in color. It's kind of hard to see in this lighting. It's kind of dark in color. That means it should be changed. Most situations, what people wind up doing with these is using like a turkey baster and sucking the fluid out, adding new fluid to the reservoir, pumping the clutch pedal several times, and then repeating the process. The thought being, as they continue to do this, they keep removing more of the contaminated fluid and replacing it with more fluid. Luckily for me, when I had my clutch replaced by Lonnie up at Sinister Customs, he installed a new clutch. I have a Corvette clutch in this, and it also includes a remote drain for the clutch right here. So I should be able to just hook up to that and suck the old fluid out so I can get a more complete flush of the fluid. And I've never done it before, but the way Lonnie explained it, it sounded pretty easy, so I'm going to find out. One tip to keep in mind, brake fluid is extremely corrosive. You want to take all possible measures to make sure that you do not get any on your paint, because it will damage your paint. So I covered up my fender with a towel just in case I have a problem. To assist me in the job, I bought this cheap siphon pump at Walmart. I have an empty container here that I'm going to be collecting the old fluid in, and my plan is to attach this to the remote drain line and slowly try to remove some fluid, and then keep filling the reservoir as I'm going. Okay, you can see I have some of the fluid flowing here. Reservoir's emptying out, need to add some fluid to it. So this is just going to be kind of a slow process. The remote drain, I had to loosen that fitting to get the flow to start coming, but then if I loosen it too much, it starts to kind of leak from the fitting itself. So not quite sure what the deal is with that, but I'm getting some fluid out, so it's good enough for now. You can see the difference between fresh fluid that I just put in versus what was sitting in there. It's nice and clear. That's the way you want it to be. Okay, here's the old fluid, and you can see in the tube, now I'm starting to get the clear fluid that I've added coming through, which is what I want. I didn't really have a good concept of how much fluid was in the reservoir. Evidently it's not much, so I probably drained it a little bit more than I needed to, but live and learn. As I was draining the clutch fluid, I also, in between my stops and starts and refilling the reservoir, I was pumping the clutch pedal 6 or 7 times to force the fluid from the system. But again, when you're doing that, you need to make sure that you keep fluid at your reservoir. You don't want it to run dry, otherwise it could start sucking air. Okay, just like a lot of my projects, this thing turned out to be a mess. To be expected when you've never tried anything before, I guess. Let's see, the cap, I dropped down inside the engine, had to jack the truck up and feel around for about 10 minutes till I found the cap. I managed to suck air into the clutch system from pumping it too much to push out the old fluid. The amount of fluid that's in the clutch system is very small. As you can see, here's the old fluid, kind of looks like coffee. There's actually new fluid in this tube here, nice and clear. So that's what you want. You just don't want to go through all the crap that I did. So, as always is the case with my automotive projects, live and learn. I'm going to go out and give it a test drive, make sure the clutch feels okay, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I took the truck out for test drive. The clutch felt okay. It actually felt like it was grabbing lower than it was prior to the change, which is something I read happens when you put fresh fluid in, so that's a good thing. So you can see I made a heck of a mess. Got brake fluid all over the place, got tools scattered all over the place. As I mentioned, as par for the course for me, this job was more complicated than it need be. I think my problem was I was mixing instructions for what to do if you're using a turkey baster method to change your fluid versus using a method similar to bleeding the brakes, which is why I wound up getting air in the system. So anyways, job's done. Call it good. I'll keep an eye on that fluid. Basically, the parameters I got is whenever it starts to look brown, it's time to change it. So one last thing I'm going to do is pop the hood and just see if my level dropped at all, and if it did, I'm just going to put it back up. You're supposed to put it midway between the min and max level. So I'm going to do that, and after that, clean up the mess, and call the job done. So another messed up automotive project by Duff. Thanks.